celebrating Treasures for Teachers' 20th anniversary. Woo! Applause. That's so awkward when that doesn't happen. But you guys all look stunning in your beautiful jewel colors. I love the purples and the blues, and you guys really went to the nines, so thank you. We are so excited to get this program started. We have two wonderful hosts for this evening, two of our fantastic board members. We have Karen Nowicki and Dave Smith here for you. I'd like to invite them on stage and take it away from me.
We are excited about an incredible program, some great food and stories that will just delight you and warm your heart around education and sustainability. I came to Treasures for Teachers in 2016. I knew that I was done teaching after being in Tempe School District as a third grade teacher, a curriculum developer, and eventually an assistant principal in partnership with Intel right on their Chandler campus. Intel was kind enough to donate the land for Irene School, and I was fortunate to open that as one of the administrators. But when I knew that I was done teaching and I had got into business for myself, I had an attic filled with boxes and treasures that would help kids learn. A lot of math manipulatives, favorite books, and all the things that my kids were too old enough to enjoy at that point. And Crystal, if you remember Crystal, she was the member coordinator. She used to work for me at a preschool I ran years later, and I called and said, where can I donate these incredible things? Do you want them? And she said, I know exactly where you need to come. Come meet me at Treasures for Teachers. I'll introduce you to Barb. And it was a love affair from the very beginning. I got a beautiful tour of the facility, and I was introduced to Barb, and I think the fourth thing she said to me was, do you want to get on board? 8 years later, here I am. And enjoying every moment of it. Very happy to be co-emceeing and your host tonight. It's an important night for all of us, and we want to get started with dinner in just a moment after Dave has a chance to share a few words as well. But I would first like to ask all of our T4T volunteers, whether you donated, you go to the building, you volunteer, if you would stand and let's give these incredible folks a round of applause. All right. Tonight that we cannot run this organization without volunteers, and it is absolutely true. Next, we'd like to have an opportunity to welcome all of our staff and team members, past and present. If you've ever been on payroll for T4T, please stand and be acknowledged. Here tonight, past and present as well. If you please stand, our board members, for your acknowledgement as well. More now than ever, educators are facing incredible hardships. We've heard stories about some of the financial strain. I was just out to dinner with a handful of my teacher friends who are nearing retirement. And the conversation, even just 3 nights ago at Bustino South, was around how they're out of toilet paper, they're out of paper, they're being told that they can't run worksheets any longer, they need pencils, they need tissues. They were making jokes about how they have to show the kids how to blow their nose in 4 different corners before they throw the tissue away. And that was one of our wealthiest districts. So tonight's conversation, stories, and impact, and hopefully your donations will go a long way to support our educators here in Arizona.
Thank you so much, Karen. And let me add my welcome and thank you to all of us for joining this evening as well. Again, as Karen said, my name is Dave Smith. I'm currently a board member and serving as the treasurer of T4T. I am retired, and I've worked for years in the for-profit and the not-for-profit world, but have been familiar with T4T for all 20 years. As I served as the executive director of the Kids in Need Foundation, which T4T has been a member of for many, many years. I met Barb in 2004 as a member of that. As Karen mentioned here, many are familiar tonight with what T4T does and what it is. But I looked at the guest list and I saw that some names I didn't recognize and thought maybe you're not familiar exactly what T4T is and what it does. So I'm going to tell you a little bit, and this actually comes right from the website. It's a member-based resource and supply store serving educators of Arizona. Educators have access to a wide selection of materials, resources, and training to enhance the learning process. Since we are a donation-based operation, we're able to provide free and low-cost school supplies to our members. Why does T4T exist? Some people would ask the question and say, well, don't kids have the supplies when they get to the classroom? Doesn't school provide them? Don't the parents buy them? I saw a survey recently in 2023 that said 36% of the parents was all that said they could afford to buy the school supplies when their kids went back to school. It's 2023. 2 years before that, in 2021, it said 57% could buy the school supplies and afford them. We're going in the wrong direction on that. So that kind of explains why T4T exists at this point. So T4T helps bridge that gap between what the kids have and what the kids don't have in the classroom. In the last 20 years, T4T has provided 47,000 educators and more than 1.4 million students with basic classroom supplies. In addition, the equivalent of 395 Olympic-sized swimming pools have saved product from going into landfill, diverted to landfill. T4T has retail locations in Tempe and the West Valley, and a mobile unit, T4T on wheels, that delivers school supplies directly to the school. Often a teacher can describe a little better than I can what the impact and what the need for T4T is. I'm going to read a letter that we recently received from a teacher. It says, I am thrilled at the opportunity to be a teacher, and have always dreamed of having a positive impact on my students. I teach at a school where most of the students come from low-income families, and it's very rare when any of my students comes to school with the necessary basic supplies. I totally understand this, as things like food, clothing, and housing have to take priority. My students are eager to learn, but it can be challenging when they do not have the necessary supplies. I use my limited personal budget to buy what supplies I can afford. My students learn to share what supplies we have, but this limits them because they can't take their work home at night and do their assignments. A couple of years ago, a friend made me aware of a unique store where teachers can shop for lots of free and low-cost basic classroom items. This has been a game changer for me and my students, as of now I can afford so many more items. Now each of my students has their own basic supplies, which allows me to concentrate on teaching and my students to concentrate on learning. I have discovered that when students have the basic supplies, their behavior, their attendance, even their ability to learn and self-esteem all improve. My students are low income, not low intelligence, and they deserve to have their pencils, paper, glue sticks, and crayons. Economic conditions should not be a barrier to learning, as my students face many challenges at home as well. More than once, I've heard one of my students say, my daddy got paid today, so the lights are back on now. Let's all work together to solve this problem. Thank you so much for listening. The meeting and the impact way better than the weekend. We turn back to Karen now. She's got some housekeeping details as we prepare the dinner.
Before we get started with dinner, I want to acknowledge both Chloe and Christopher. Chloe's right here. Christopher's right here in the back. This evening would not have been possible without them and their incredible team. Every time we come to a meeting, the entire year, I think we've been planning this for a year, and more recently, every week, sometimes several times a week. So thank you to both of these just firefighters who, firecrackers who made this possible. I also want to make sure before we get into our program and our dinner that we thank our incredible sponsors. Of course, an evening like this is not possible on behalf of a nonprofit without amazing sponsors. We have Diamond and host sponsor SRP. Our club sponsor Intel. Our Saturday sponsor American College of Education. Full-time sponsors Thomas W. Galvani, PC, and Bowen Martin. And our movie sponsor, Phoenix Business Radio X. Are you hungry? Yeah! We are going to start dinner now, and we're going to be prompting you by tables. I believe it might be Chloe or Christopher who will announce tables. We'll get started with that in just a moment in groups of about 6. And you'll be going out these back doors here to the right, and I'm sure you saw a beautiful buffet waiting for you. A couple of housekeeping things. The raffle and auction are still live right now, and will close at 7:45. So throughout dinner, you'll be hearing announcements to remind you to check on your auction items and make sure that you put in for the raffle. You'll be placing your bids, if you haven't already, on Gibby. And again, our incredible T4T staff is here with name tags on, and they can circulate and help you figure that out if you need some help. If you haven't already, make sure you get over to the photo booth over here in the corner. They're a lot of fun. These photos will be uploaded to your phone, or let's see, I think they're also going to share them as a slide. A great way to commemorate tonight. And the cool thing about these particular business owners here in the corner, they're also teachers. So make sure that you thank them for being here tonight. I think we're ready to have dinner, and then I can encourage you as we go into dinner, we're not going to keep the program going. We all decided that was a great opportunity for you to get to know your table mates. There's likely a teacher or someone who's been a teacher at your table previously. Conjure up some conversations around what was it like when you were a K-8 student, or as a parent with a child, or if you have been in education for these years. Be sure to share some of the trials and the triumphs as you enjoy your dinner. Let's go ahead and excuse tables 1 through 6 first, and then we'll listen to the other announcements. Have a great dinner.
So David and Aaron, please come on up. We've got some really special stories and a lot of celebrations.
Oh, that's good.
Christopher has a year in how we done.
Okay, I was gonna say.
How was dinner? How you been going so far? As we start the rest of the program, I'd like to ask all the volunteers in the room to stand up.
Thank you for sharing this.
Volunteers are the heart and soul of any not-for-profit organization. You certainly no exception to that. Calculating volunteer hours and total per year is hard. But in 2023, we were the beneficiary of more than 7,000 volunteer hours. We're also thrilled that in 2023, we were the recipient of the Sustainability Innovation Award from Tempe and the Nonprofit of the Year Award from Powatuki Chamber of Commerce. Now for some fun, see if we can jog some memories in here. I'm going to have a Karen for a walk down memory lane.
Do this justice. Treasures for Teachers started in Art's Garage in 2004. Some of you may know this story if you've been around for at least a while. The heads are nodding in the audience. Barb at the time was visiting a second grade classroom, and the teacher asked her students to get out a piece of paper and a pencil. And Barb watched as a little 7-year-old student named Sandy walk up to the teacher and take off her shoe and hand it to the teacher. The teacher then quickly gave Sandy a pencil. Sandy scooted back to her seat and began to work. And after class, Barb asked the teacher why Sandy had to give her a shoe for the pencil. Can you imagine why? Collateral, right? There weren't enough pencils to go around, they disappeared, and she knew that if she made that exchange, she would have that pencil back, and they would have pencils again for the next day. And of course, this really touched Barb, and not in a comfortable, rah-rah way. It made her think that we really can do better. And that's when she knew that she would do something, so that students didn't have to give up their shoe for a pencil. And again, that's been a long time ago. After that, then you can look at the screen that kind of followed our timeline. she started with the Resource Area for Teaching, RAPT, a contract with them. Following the guidance with RAPT, which is a California-based resource center, Barb started to really get a hand on how creative reuse was working in the teaching industry. However, Barb's ideas were changing and growing quickly, and she knew this needed to be her own organization and that in order to continue to grow. And that's when the name changed to Treasures for Teachers, and it was the start of T for T. At that time, it moved out of her garage, probably a great appreciation for Richard at that time, her husband, who probably said, "Hooray, I've got my garage back." And it moved into the original location on Southern in Tempe in 2009. And then devastatingly, a terrible monsoon came in 2010, causing the roof to fall in, destroying products and technology and 10 years worth of T for T history and photos. Absolutely devastating. And the future was very uncertain at that time. You can see on the screen that there's a photo of Barb's office where just moments before she was standing there with a couple staff members. The response, fortunately, this time was incredible from the community. Neighbors and partners showed up with unbelievable support, donating goods and funds to help keep T for T growing and getting back on its feet. Only thanks to the community, they reopened and moved to 1230 Southern in 2010. And then in 2013, T for T on Wheels got started in an effort, as Dave mentioned earlier, to reach more teachers across the valley. Beginning with programs and delivering school supplies to students and educators who didn't have the means to get to T for T for themselves. And in 2014 November, we needed more space, so we moved to 48th Street. After settling into this new location, we could quickly continue to grow, and we've been at this place ever since, and that's a couple years before I came on board with the board. And then in 2017, October 2017, the supporter base continued to grow, and the donations did as well. And we began to receive more and more donations, like wine glasses, which probably aren't needed in classrooms right maybe, depending on who gets it. And fine art, and adult clothing, and all the things you really don't need in the classroom. And so the board, with Barb and the staff, were coming up with creative use ideas, and that's when the thrift shop was formed, in order to take care of all these odd and unique donations. This large thrift store is connected to our Tempe store and is open to the public. 100% of the proceeds come back to T for T. In 2018, the West Valley opens. And we had known for quite some time that while East Valley's teachers were thrilled with our location in Tempe, we were just too far for many teachers in the West Valley. Can you imagine driving across the greater Phoenix area after a long day of teaching to go, put together some new supplies for yourself? So we decided to open a West Valley location right in the heart of Pendergast District. This location, though a lot smaller than our Tempe location, serves about 2,600 educators, even with it being so small. And about the size of a cafeteria in comparison to our large warehouse in Tempe. And then we know what happened next, COVID-19, which caused T for T to close between March and June of 2020. T for T was closed for those 3 months to ensure, of course, the safety of our teachers, our staff, volunteers. And after reopening in June 2020, we slowly but surely began our return to normalcy. Is that even a thing? No, it is. It was a great year for donations, as you can imagine. Many people have been doing some deep cleaning during quarantine. And now, in the present today, right here, right now, we're facing another huge milestone. Our incredible, ever-giving, ever-loving executive director, Barb, is stepping down to be closer to her family in Atlanta, Georgia. So we are actively working with a search firm, a national search firm, and we're looking for the next executive director. So with that in mind, we're going to continue with our program. Keep that little storyline in the back of your heart and mind as we welcome up our current board president, Cammie Galvin. Galvani. Satui and Papine, you'd think I'd be able to say, Mommy. Here she is. Welcome, Kim.
I heard about T4T from one of Key Phoenix Olaple's iRecycle Phoenix events, and I looked at the advertisement and saw that there was this organization called Treasure for Teachers that was collecting shoeboxes and magazines and old CD cases, and I, at the time, and still am, very interested in waste diversion, and I thought, this is wonderful, and I showed it to my husband, he's like, yeah, I don't know about any of that, but you go ahead. So I collected a whole bunch of stuff and drove it down to the iRecycle event, and I could not believe how excited they were to get my old shoe boxes and magazines. They were just like, I'm almost sure it was Richard who took my stuff, and he was just beyond thrilled. And so I fell in love. I said, now I have a place to take all the things that I feel like I shouldn't be throwing away, and it's going to be going to a good use. And so I was so excited. And I was inspired to create a donation program at the law firm that I worked at. And so instead of sending used binders and folders and old staplers into the trash cans, we collected them in an old office, and we would call Treasure for Teachers about every 3 months, and they would come and pick up about 30 boxes of the things, and it was wonderful. And through that relationship, I eventually found my way on the board, and have been serving as board president for the last 4 years or so. So I'm thrilled to be a part of the organization, and I'm so excited to see all of you here today. And now I would like to talk a little bit about Barb. None of this would be possible without Barb Blaylock. She noticed a huge problem with our education system, and while most of us would be shake their heads and go on with their day, she decided to take action. T4T has been helping Arizona's teachers fill their classrooms for 20 years, and we have Barb to thank for that. We would like to present Barb with our beloved founder award. We wish more than anything that Barb could be with us here to join us to accept this award in person, but sometimes even the best laid plans do not go as expected, and due to circumstances beyond her control, she is unable to join us tonight. But she is certainly here celebrating with us in spirit, and Poonam Rafi, our amazing interim executive director, is here to accept the award on Barb's behalf and share some words from her.
how important Barb is for the success of the organization. She wanted me to share with us on her behalf. Barb has always said, everyone knows a teacher. On your table is a clear pouch. Although she couldn't be with us tonight, Barb has asked that we all honor her legacy this evening by taking a pouch from the table and gifting it to a teacher that you know. Inside the pouch is the story of the pencil and the shoe, and some small gifts to recognize educators for the job they do every day. The items were chosen to serve as reminders of what is and has always been Barb's vision for Treasures for Teachers, which is to continue the all-important work of supporting teachers and touching the lives of children. Thank you for your support over the past 20 years. Your donations, volunteer time, and financial support are critical to the success of thousands of teachers and students who count on Treasures for Teachers every year to provide them with the basic resources they need to succeed.
T4T would not have survived without its volunteers. We are so grateful for each and every one. In particular, tonight, we would like to acknowledge one of T4T's very first volunteers, and that is Richard Blaylock, Barb's husband. Richard went above and beyond the role of supportive spouse. Not only did he put up with having a startup nonprofit take over his garage and compete with the time and compete with T4T for Barb's time and attention, but he was one of T4T's most active volunteers. In my tenure on the board, I'm not sure I can recall a single major volunteer event that Richard was not present at. Richard was often at T4T on any given day, contributing his time to our cause for free. We are so appreciative of the many hours that Richard devoted to T4T, and we would like to present him with the Exemplary Legacy Volunteer Award, which will be accepted by We should all be very proud. Our work and the history of impact we just reminisced about is not possible without the many partners who have contributed over the years. Individual donors, corporate sponsors, foundation funders, and volunteers who have worked to build the future of our community together. What we have achieved is amazing. Everybody, please give everybody in the room a round of applause. We also want to acknowledge all the teachers who are here tonight. If you are a teacher or have been in the past, please stand. We also celebrate our partner organizations like Stardust, AZ Strut, Social Venture Partners, and others whose collaboration has elevated the breadth and depth of our change for teachers and students. From infrastructure donations like shelves from IKEA to a new box truck donated by Rush Enterprises as coordinated by our newest board member, Brett Eitzel. We honor everyone's shared piece of time, talent, and treasure. We would also like to thank SRP, our Diamond and Host sponsor, who made this evening possible. And please allow me to introduce Gibb St. Paul from SRP, who is also a fellow board member.
Good evening. I hope you guys are having a wonderful time, and I'm so proud to be up here for multiple reasons. I work for SRP in our technology department, and what's so important about that is our mission is to serve our communities and to provide reliable, affordable, and sustainable water. The sustainable part is very important. As you see other employees in the room, Hispanic, corporate worker, Matt Lovelady, it's very important for us that when we think about sustainability, when it comes to things that we can throw away or things that we haven't thrown away, our investment recovery has been giving back computers, a lot of office supplies. So now when I walk around the office and see things get thrown away, it really upsets me. Don't throw it away, I'll have a room, I'll have something to put that in. So it caused me to reflect on what makes us SRP, and this is the part that I think as employees makes us proud that we're able to support organizations like TP. Another thing is, as I impacted by teachers in many ways, I was a big visual learner. Right? So as my teachers, I remember getting to this is our school. The best way to teach in the room is to make me do crafts and arts and crafts. So that's how I learned, and teachers like you out there, it does that. It does make a difference and leave a lasting impression on myself. Also, when I think about my kids and my wife, and my wife is a teacher, they did well in school district. Times where I never understood really the impact of the first day of school. We're buying paper towels and rings of paper. Why are we doing that? In a couple years I wouldn't go, but then when I went, I realized when the teachers saw all the things that are being brought, how important and how joyous they felt, because these are supplies they didn't have to try to buy themselves. right? So I realized that. And then about 3 or 4 months ago, my wife went back to full teaching in kindergarten in her favorite class. And then she was like, well, she took a class, which I didn't understand this until I saw what she does every night. I guess taking a classroom in kindergarten mid-year is a hard thing to do. I just didn't realize how hard it is. So one of the things you want to do is make the class your own. So you can buy a lot of things. And I just said, buy whatever you want, you know? But then I know that everyone had the opportunity, but the thing she was buying because she wanted to make the class herself, you know? So it made me truly see the importance of organizations like Tempe. So when I became a board member and I met Barb and she did a tour, just the excitement of the things in the store, I was like, that's useful. I never got certain things on how useful they were. It's so important to do that. I'm working on a big project for XRP, so anyone that lives in XRP, the system that we use to build all of the things was built in the 1960s, so it's going to take a long to fix that. But it's going to be a lot of office supplies and things that we have to use, and I made sure I'll have a room just for items, because if I'll tell the bar herself, but the amount of volume you need to go away, I just don't care. So I'm going to bring Kate to help with that, to make sure we have this in the future. But really, it's seeing here tonight, seeing what I've done from my family perspective, my love for our kids, and just what it means to teachers. It truly makes me happy to be part of this board. It's truly important to me. And over the next few years of this program, I can't wait to deliver things for T, because the mission's great and I love being part of it. Thank you.
Now we'd like to take a moment to shine a light on our very first corporate donor. Intel is a huge reason we're still here supporting 20 years later. From the start, Intel has provided supplies, donated time through volunteer groups, invested through community grants, shared experience, and governance through board members and more. Vicki Gruhl, please join us on stage to accept the wonderful.
Oh my, thank you. I am so proud to accept this on behalf of Intel. As Cammie said, Intel has been supporting T4T from the very beginning. We were the first company that Barb thought to come to when she was looking for supplies to give to the teachers. And I mean, most of the things that filled Richard's garage came from Intel. Intel has long been a champion of giving back to the communities that we are in through volunteering and donations. As part of our 2030 RISE goals for enabling and sustainability, this fits directly into Intel's mission. We're particularly invested in education and STEM initiatives, and Treasures for Teachers is just an amazing organization that not only provides supplies to teachers, but leads classes on STEM initiatives, provides examples of how teachers can use all various things that are donated to the organization, and many, many other things to support our educators. In the past 5 years, 543 Intel volunteers have contributed 1,100 volunteer hours to Treasures for Teachers, generating over volunteer matching grant payments. But our largest contributions continue to be the donation of our supplies that we tend to gather in what we call dump our junk events. I'm personally proud to represent Intel on the board of Treasures for Teachers, and I believe strongly in our mission to provide free and low-cost supplies to our educators and continue that sustainability.
Our T4T is fantastic, Director of Development, and one of the people largely responsible for everything we've seen here tonight. And Jason Taylor of the American College of Education, our sponsor.
As you're aware, and many of you highlighted tonight, Treasures for Teachers is blessed by individuals and organizations that really care about education. And American College of Education is one of those organizations. They supported us through volunteerism, through sponsorship, through other donations throughout the years. They care about educating educators. And that lifelong learning matters to them. And who also knows more about lifelong learning than the people who are teaching. They care about their continued education. And so Treasures for Teachers has partnered with the American College of Education to highlight and donate a master's scholarship to one of our members, one of our teacher members. So let me introduce Jason Taylor. He's going to share a little bit about the American College of Education and highlight our award.
Putting on an event like this. A little bit about ACE, or American College of Education. We were founded in 2005 by teachers for teachers, and we had to look at just the demographic and look at the way teaching was going, and it wasn't very good, right? The way we looked at it, teachers are underappreciated, underpaid. Right? A minute ago, they asked for teachers, both current and past, to stand up, and a lot of them stood up. And as a lot of you have seen, in order to get those pay bumps or those pay increases that assist you and your family, you have to go on and continue your education, right? But when you go and make those calls or you inquire online, you're looking at price tags of $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 and on up. And it just doesn't make sense. The ROI just isn't quite there. And that's where ACE kind of stepped in. They wanted to figure out a way to provide an affordable education at a price that you can afford. And so we're very proud to say that we have over 30 master's degrees in education, all under $9,500. And when I say under $9,500, that's everything. ACE is not going to come to you and ask you for another dollar over $9,500. That is, unless you want colored pencils or anything smart. And then our doctorate degrees are under $24,000. A doctorate degree in education under $24,000. Unless you're an ACE alumni, in that case, it's under $17,000. And a lot of you are asking, well, are you guys accredited by a mall or something? No. Well, we started accredited by a mall, but no. We're actually accredited by the HLC, that's Higher Learning Commission, and that's their accreditation that accredits every Big Ten school. So the accreditation is there, the affordability is there, and so we're trying to do our part. We wanted to recognize somebody this year with a scholarship, and unfortunately she couldn't be here tonight, but this is what she wrote on her application. One of the many reasons why we awarded the scholarship to this person. She said, receiving a scholarship from the American College of Education would make a huge difference in my teaching career. I've been a teacher for 21 years. And would like to move in a new direction, special education. This scholarship would allow me to make a change that would benefit not only my school, students, but my community at large. Special education teachers are in high demand, and the number of students struggle to learn in a general education setting.
and that number continues to rise. Earning my master's in special education has been a dream for the past 4 or 5 years. This scholarship from the American College of Education would truly make a dream come true. So for that and other reasons, we would like to award Julia the scholarship for our Master's in Education and Special Education.
Thank you, Ace, for what you're doing for the education field. Tremendous. In the audience this evening, we have many supporters who have been with Team for Chief for most of the last 20 years, and we're very grateful for that. Tonight, we'd like to acknowledge one home leader who's been a generous supporter in many ways for most of the last 20 years. Please welcome Bunny Williams to receive our first ever donor award.
I'm glad to be here to join in this special celebration. My name is Bunny Williams, and I'm going to tell you how I started training for teachers. That's about in college and 24 years. I met two very nice ladies. One was named Mary, that you did not know, and the other one, who had the same ideas as Mary, was Barb, who you do know and love. Now, I know Mary from Red Hatters, if you do not. Mary had a daughter that was having difficulty always spending her money on supplies that we could see. So Mary was a businesswoman, and she was able to contact a lot of her sources in business, and they started giving her donations, and she was able to open up a storefront. And I used to go and volunteer, and it was way out in Deer Valley, and I lived in Tempe. So, at the same time, in the early 2000s, an English movie came out called The Calendar Girls. And it was the story of these middle-aged women that put out a little movie calendar. It was for the hospital. Well, Mary said, hey, Fred Adams, we did it for 3 years. And it was enough money that we made that paid the rent. We happen to be looking at Miss December. Now, about that, Mary had to leave some family business, I can't remember what it was, but she and Barb were connected. And they said the same thing for the store, Barb had the garage. And Barb liked the meeting that we had, parents for teachers, and we were very glad to give it to her, and the rest is history. Now, my career, I have a professional volunteer now. My career in caring for teachers is I was on the first board. When they had a raffle going to South Carolina, I sold people tickets. And these were going all over the United States. I'm pretty proud of it. I was able to get the Mayo Hospital to donate, and they would send over like 5 pallets of things. Our house is like a storage area. I love it when ladies come and do my Western diet. But it's very good, and he's very good at packing my car. Sometimes I only have to see for driving. But it is so nice working with these volunteers and staff. And we really have fun with this place. So I want to say thank you for making thank you for teaching so much success for these last 20 years in this program.
We'd also like to recognize another historic volunteer who for the last 16 years has supported countless volunteer hours in various positions throughout the organization. Diana Dean Spurgeon, we're proud to give you our Exemplary Volunteer Award.
I started as a volunteer when I retired, which was 2006. And I stayed with it for about 10 years, took a break, back to Indiana, and then came back here 2 years ago. And I said to Laura, well, gee, do you need any volunteers? She said, oh, goodness, yes. What I really wanted to say is volunteers are the backup of the nonprofit. Without volunteers, there really is not the success, especially the success of Treasures teaching has had. Think of it, 20 years. Some of you volunteers have been here as well, as long as I have. And we do crazy things, like we test all the pens to make sure they work. And we count the pieces in the puzzle to make sure they're all there. We don't want to just give things away if they don't work. So I want to just applaud all the daily volunteers that come, spend their time, their energy. I call them the invisible gold of the organization.
That there's likely members of our audience tonight who have yet to ever stop by Treasures for Teachers. Just by show of hands, who have yet to see this incredible space? Anybody? Oh yeah, come on. Oh, I'm pleased. Yay! So, I thought it'd be a lot more than you. If you haven't been there, or if you haven't been there in a while, I really encourage you to swing by. Barb has always said, you can't explain it. You just can't even imagine what this place looks like and how impeccably organized it is. And all the things, and Gibbs kind of alluded to it, I mean, the things that you wouldn't even think people would need. Any of the volunteers or the staff members could say, oh, I can tell you about 9 things that they use with whatever this looks like a piece of junk. So please get by there. If you haven't been there in a while, come back. And again, let's continue to use our time, treasure, and talent to support this incredible organization.
Thank you so much for all you've done and for the great description of the importance of volunteers. We're going to move now to demonstrating the impact volunteers of different ages can really have on T4T. Let me tell you a little bit about Ezekiel Perez. He's an 11-year-old homeschool student who is a regular volunteer at T4T. His mom, Tatiana, is a teacher member who often takes advantage of our supplies for projects in their homeschool lab. Ezekiel is an upcoming journalist and recently wrote an article about T4T. Please welcome Ezekiel.
Good evening, T4T friends and supporters. Do you wonder why an 11-year-old boy named Ezekiel Perez was invited to speak at the T4T Gemstone celebration? Well, that happens when you volunteer at a place full of crazy people who believe in you. It is an honor to be here, and thank you. I am lucky to be a volunteer for T4T. Even Miss Barbara volunteered as executive director for the first 5 years, and she says volunteers are the backbone of the organization. When I became a volunteer in January of last year, I started doing simple tasks like pricing items. Those days, the giveaway was 100 markers in a bag, and I was counting. 93, 94, 90, wait. Was I? Oh boy. Now I stock and organize shelves and assist other volunteers. I love to work with Sandy, the volunteer coordinator. And with Liz and Candy. Volunteering doesn't feel like work. It is fun, especially when I became the volunteer of the month. I remember the first time my mom and I visited the store as members. It was so much fun to see how many things we could take on a $5 fill bag. And then we realized there was a giveaway every week. A teacher with her student at the store, finding materials to make all kinds of projects. Projects done by our whole family. Like the advent calendar my dad, my mom, and I made together with the empty toilet paper rolls and melted beads. Our work was published in the Facebook Thursday Treasures in December. I love having friends coming over as guests and showing them the store. They become members, and then I meet with them at T4T to help them with their shopping. I alert them of the giveaway and the good resources that I know they will enjoy. I am very proud to be part of T4T. I would like to thank Miss Barbara for the opportunity to interview her and being so kind to me. I am so proud to say I wrote an article about you to be part of your legacy and T4T history. You will always be T4T founder. You created this wonderful place for teachers and students, volunteers of all ages and abilities. We wish you and your family the very best. You will always be in our hearts. Miss Barbara's message for teachers is thank you for being a teacher. We need teachers. Thank you, teachers, friends, and supporters for your work, your support, and for being here with Treasures for Teachers family this evening.
Ezekiel, thank you so much for your inspiring words. Couldn't help thinking when Ezekiel was talking, how many of us in this room would have been willing to do that as an 11-year-old? Tonight we've learned a little bit about T4T, had a nice dinner, and a few drinks. Maybe it's time to get a little bit of exercise. You don't need to stand up, you don't need to leave the table. All you need to do is be able to raise your hand. But that's not enough exercise. In your hand, we want you to have one of these things. And hopefully there's a number on it. As we were planning the event, Karen and I and the rest of the committee planning the event, everything went fine. So we got down to the part of raise the paddle. Karen looked at me and said, have you ever done this before? No. Have you ever done this before? She said, no. So you all have an awesome responsibility. You have an opportunity to maybe help us start a second career or send us back to auction school. That's kind of a big opportunity for you. Let me turn it back over to Karen. Now we're going to have some
Stories like Ezekiel and his mom, Tatiana, help illustrate the tremendous need that we have for the gap between teachers and our students and supplies that they need. So we are inviting you right now to support the future of T4T. Raising your paddle today is going to help students like Ezekiel and educators like Tatiana succeed throughout their lifelong education journey. So we're going to start tonight's paddle raise with $1,000 and ask you to join us. We're just going to kind of look around the room because we're pros at this and see where we can find the paddles being raised for a commitment for $1,000. A whopping 96% of T4T's teachers members feel a increased sense of professional ability. And these ladies right here have an example. All right, we got 161. Thank you. Thank you. Where else? And our 151 gives 157. Thank you. Thank you. Keep them up so our volunteers are 161. Thank you. 151. Hold them up so our, oh my goodness, this is going better. We're not going to get fired. We're doing it. These lovely ladies up here are demonstrating what $1,000 can mean. It's 200 bags of resources for classrooms. Just look at these $5 fill bags stuffed with supplies. Imagine this times 20. So again, raising a paddle at $1,000. We'd love to see those paddles up. And thank you. So we got 151. We got 151 needs to get there. Sorry, I can't see that far. 1, 5. Okay.
No, but 5 times.
Oh my God! Wow. All right, one more time. Okay, I can't see it. 119. Can I see that far? 119. Oh my gosh, you guys are so generous. 119. Thank you. Last call for $1,000 for the paddle raise. Dave, we might have a second career after all. Thank you.
good exercise. Say cookies, that's why I'm looking at you. You heard that. All right, our next level is $500. You see the things on the screen here? What the impact of $500 means. Could I ask all the teachers in the room again to please stand up?
Teachers, stand up.
Teachers, stand up, please. $500 to support 15 teachers with the supply they need in the classroom. Who will get us started at $500? 115.
All right, moving on to the paddle race for $250 to infuse all the resources a classroom needs for one semester. How about for $250 paddle races at $250? Thank you very much. Thank you. 175, 113. Wow. Over here. Keep those paddles up. Thank you. Let's keep a round of applause going for these generous donations. Sharpies that we can see, big letters. That's what happens when you have the 55 and older club up here, right? All right, thank you for the $250 donations, and we'll finish it up.
Take some pictures.
Check out this card for a full semester. That's a great model.
Number 199. The last level is $100 level. So if you have not had any exercise yet, now's the time. Let me give you an example. Where's the backpack? As you can see, it is filled. I I don't do this. You do it. Thank you all so much. I got a great time for the new group. Does everybody still have information on the raffle tickets? We're going to have announced the raffle winners. Whoops, we got another one.
Yes. 178.
178. We are ready to announce the winner of the raffle. The winner is Maureen Kempton. As we close the program tonight, again, a special thank you from all of us here. We could not have done this without you, not only tonight, but for the last 20 years. Special thanks to all the sponsors for tonight. SRP, Intel, American College of Education, Thomas B. Galvani Law Firm, Phoenix Business Radio, and Boyd Parker. We'd also like to thank one more time our founders for their passion, vision, and commitment to helping students and teachers.
Tonight is clearly not the end of T4T. It's just the beginning of a new venture with new leadership, hopefully sometime soon. And we want to send you off with a great deal of gratitude and appreciation. This is our first major fundraiser and event in 20 years. So you've been part of something brand new, and we hope to continue it for years to come. Please remember to take a little couch that was kind enough to have been assembled by Andrea and her mother on behalf of Barb, who couldn't be here, and so desperately wanted you to feel her, and I hope you did feel her presence tonight. It certainly was running through the whole evening. And pass it along to a teacher. When you wake up tomorrow morning, and if you have kids, you get them off to school, or you're driving to work and you see that yellow bus school pass by, or see the kids with their backpacks walking to school, remember that you've been part of this evening, and take that with you, because you really have an incredible contribution to schools across Arizona and hopefully beyond. Thank you so much for being part of our evening tonight, and drive safely home. Thank you.